I feel like I look like a 1980s librarian or something. Anyway, hello and welcome back to my channel. So not that long ago I did like a sort of reading wrap up. I don't know if I can do monthly reading wrap ups, only just because I don't read like enough, but I feel like I can compile what I read in a couple of months and talk about it. So I'm planning to do another like reading wrap up in June. I should have read a decent amount by then to talk about, but in that video, the reading wrap up, I kind of wanted to talk about the shows and stuff that I've been watching, because on my channel I've watched some TV shows, some movies. By the time I got to the end of talking about my books, I was like, I can't talk about TV shows or else this is going to be like a 2-hour video. So anyway, I had that idea, and then I'm subscribed to a Clockwork Reader on YouTube, and she just did like a film, like her top favorite film and TV shows, and it inspired me to not only watch the movie Howl's Moving Castle, I'm gonna talk about it, but I was inspired, but I just watched her video and I was inspired to do my own sort of talking about TV and movies. But I'm just going to talk about what I've been watching recently, not my favorites. Some are my favorites, but like that's not what this video is. I'm just going to talk about what I've been watching lately, mostly TV shows, mostly animated shows. So we have Komi Can't Communicate. So for Komi Can't Communicate, I think it was just on Netflix's like homepage, and I was interested in watching it. And it's basically kind of like a slice of life, but there is the main character, Komi. She has severe social anxiety. Like she can talk, but it's very hard for her to talk to people and that she doesn't know very well. Even people that she does know well, like her family, she just like not very communicative. Komi can't communicate. And I enjoy the show, and it's very cute. There's, what is it? Let me look it up. Forgot to mention too, it's like the biggest point of the show is that Komi is like very attractive. She's considered like the goddess of her school. She has this like severe crippling social anxiety, but is also gorgeous, and she attracts a lot of attention. Komi makes friends with Tadano, and he, like, through the show is helping her make friends. He is like this plain normal dude, very very nice and very sweet though, and of course there's like a romance brewing between them. I'm not even, what episode am I on? I'm on episode, my TV's right here, so I'm just looking. I'm on episode 16. That's not right though, because I was watching it the other night and I know I fell asleep, but it was like really late. So yeah, I'm probably on like episode 10 actually. I've always been very shy. I know I have anxiety. I'm pretty sure I have social anxiety. I've never been like diagnosed, but I mean, when I'm in social situations around people I don't know, I'm shaky. I'm very very quiet. So yeah, I'm like pretty sure I have social anxiety, and so I appreciate there being a show talking about that, especially for people who don't seem like they have that sort of hurdle in social situations, because I feel like people don't really expect me to, because I've been called like bubbly, but on the inside I'm just like I'm like terrified. But I like Komi Can't Communicate. It's nice to watch, slice of life. Other than Komi's anxiety, it's not very heavy. The only thing is, there's a few things actually. So there's a character on the show, Yamai, and she is like obsessed with Komi. She's obviously very much into Komi romantically also, but it's to the point where it's like really obsessive and a lot. And her character is played for laughs, but she's not great. Like, she's not great. Also, the thing about Komi like making friends is people learning to kind of get past her just being this gorgeous person and like getting to know her for herself. But the more that I'm watching, like the first few characters, it seems like they actually want to be friends with her, but like the more I'm watching, a lot of these characters seem like they just worship her, and it's not really helping Komi like make like real friendships. They're just like obsessed with being friends with like this goddess and not really like getting to know her as a person. Oh, the whole like Komi being a goddess thing, that gets real old real fast. Like, it's just like, we get it. Like, I know she's supposed to be really attractive, everybody loves her, but it's like it gets to be a bit much. But other than that, I do enjoy the show. The second on the, not even a list, but Bleach. This isn't really like a list. It's not a list, it's just what I've been watching lately. So the second show that I'm going to talk about is Bleach. And Bleach and I have a funny story, a funny history together. So I started watching Bleach because it's one of like the big 3 anime. There's like One Piece, there's One Piece, Bleach, and then something else, and I forget. Oh, Naruto. I started watching anime a really long time ago. I don't think it's a big deal to be an anime watcher who got into anime over the pandemic. I've seen some people like be weird about that. Whenever you get into something, you just get into it, and if you really like it and you really enjoy it, that's all that matters. My first anime was Samurai Champloo. I was waiting for my sheets to dry and I couldn't go to sleep, so I was just on the couch and Adult Swim was on, Samurai Champloo was on. It was the dub version and I was like totally into it. I was like in high school around the time. I just never really found an anime that I really liked, and I was watching that and I was like, this is like, I could get into anime. And then I just started watching more gradually, and I've been really wanting to get more into like the more classic anime. I mean, Samurai Champloo is a classic, but I mean like the big mainstream ones, I guess. So I've heard a lot about Bleach. I don't know why I started with that one, I just did. And so I started watching Bleach. I really liked it, and then I just kind of like fell off from watching it. I don't know. They were in Soul Society. I started watching around Christmas of 2021 and they were in Soul Society. I remember like literally putting up my tree and decorating it, watching them in Soul Society, and not watching for a really long time. And because the Soul Society arc is like a rescue arc, and I don't know why I just stopped. But I've gotten to that point again where they're rescuing Orihime, and it's also a rescue. It's also a rescue, and I just stopped watching. It's not like I'm not entertained, I am. I guess it's just a lot, you know, they're like battling all these different people, and then they're like, but they still have to get to the person that they have to save, and I guess I need a break. So I took a break, but I've been watching Bleach again, but I'm where they're trying to rescue Orihime, and I've stopped for now, but I'm gonna pick it back up. Part of the reason why I picked Bleach back up is because the 1,000-Year Blood War arc came out and people were like, oh my god, it's so amazing, and I really want to watch that, but I can't really watch that without watching the whole anime. I mean, I guess I could, but it wouldn't be as fun or rewarding, and I probably wouldn't know what certain things are going on, so yeah. But yeah, I do like Bleach. I just be taking breaks. It's really long too. First off, it came out in like 2005. I don't even know how old I was in 2005. Really young. really young. 7 or something, maybe 6. Anytime that I was gonna get into anime, there was gonna be a significant amount of episodes to catch up on. It's like 300 episodes. I need my breaks. But I do like it. I really like Ichigo as a main character, and I like all the characters, really. Like even the bad guys, but also all the characters are really hot. I don't understand. Like, I understand that's the point, like they're supposed to be physically attractive, like a lot of anime characters are, but like in Bleach, everybody's attractive. Every single person, even the villains. One of the classic animes that I wanted to get myself into was Sailor Moon. Obviously everybody knows what Sailor Moon is. Well, I would hope so. If you don't know like the basics, you've at least seen Usagi, and it's just such a classic. I know the anime itself is full of a lot of like filler, and I think Sailor Moon Crystal, the like reboot, is I think more faithful to the manga, but I've just been watching the 90s one because I feel like I have to, and then I'll graduate to Sailor Moon Crystal. But yeah, like I've heard so many people talk about Sailor Moon, and I totally get it. I totally get the aesthetic of it. I like the whole like girl power thing, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't feel superficial, or like I just really appreciate the Sailor Scouts and their friendship and loyalty to Usagi. Their little like power sets are really cool. I love how fashionable, like the fashion, the fact that the characters don't like recycle their clothing like typical cartoons. They wear different things a lot. So I know that the mangaka though, like she's really into fashion and like has included like designer clothing, like their designs, like has put her characters in them. And Sailor Moon, like Usagi, the character is really, really powerful, like scarily powerful, and it's just kind of funny because she's so, doesn't seem like it, but she's very, very powerful. It's very cool. I enjoy it. I like putting it on like in the evening if I just want to like chill. Oh, so this is like all anime pretty much, minus like a couple towards the end. Kamisama Kiss, I don't know where or why I decided to watch it. It might have been like a recommendation from Reddit, but I started watching it. I watched the first season and got like butterflies in my stomach. I didn't really give a summary for Bleach and Sailor Moon because they're so popular. But Kamisama Kiss I feel like is less well known, so I'll give the summary. But so basically, Nanami, she is a homeless high schooler. Her father is like a flaky dude, like not the greatest father, so she ends up homeless and she accepts an offer to live at a shrine, making her the new local god. With her handsome fox spirit familiar, Nanami learns the ins and outs of godhood and meets her spirits, including two who vie for her love. So the fox spirit, his name is Tomo, and he's her like, they're like, that's her I can't think of the word. That's the guy that she's supposed to be with. But it's just really cute. It's really sweet. It's like kind of, well, what I'm watching, there's only 2 seasons, I believe. There's 2 seasons and then 5 OVAs. So the first season is very like sweet, nice, lighthearted. Not a lot of super heavy stuff. A little bit because Tomo has a past. Of course, everybody, you know, the guy always has to have like a past. But the second season, I haven't finished it yet, but I think it might start getting more into his past, which might make it a little heavier, but it's pretty lighthearted. And the OVAs, I honestly I spoil things for myself. I knew that they ended up together, Tomo and Nanami, because duh, but I watched the final OVA on like this random video site and they get married and they have a baby, and tell me why I cried. I cried. I don't know. I'm just like, these romance, especially romance animes, I'm just like, why can't I find a love like this? But it doesn't make me depressed or anything or make me feel like I'm missing out. I'm just like, it's so sweet. Like, this is what I want. Like, if I can't have this, then I don't want it. You know what I mean? I'm already planning to start collecting the manga. I think I have the first volume of Kamisama Kiss because I just know that I'm gonna want to actually read the full story. I just hate when I watch something or I start watching something and it's not finished, or like the the studio decided to not continue like making more seasons. But yeah, I really like this. I feel like if you're an Inuyasha fan, this is good for that, but I feel like it will leave you wanting more. I mean, it's leaving me wanting more, but that's just a personal thing because I'm a fucking sucker for romance. I really am. I really, really am. I really have a thing for long white-haired anime characters. Speaking of Inuyasha, I'm rewatching Inuyasha. I watched the whole show and the final act last year. I decided to get into it because I know why I decided to get into it. So this is when I had TikTok still, and I saw a video, like a random video, and Inuyasha was just so pretty to me because, again, long white hair, just the animation style too looked really nice, so I wanted to watch it, and I fell in love with it. It was my personality for for too long. So for those who don't know about Inuyasha, sort of like battle shonen. I mean, there is action, but there is a romance, like slow burn romance to the max, you know what I mean? There's romance, it's like fantasy, it's also set in a different time period in Japan, so it's sort of historical. The art is really pretty, beautiful actually, like aesthetically very pleasing, especially more towards the earlier seasons, it has that 90s anime kind of grainy sort of feel to it. It's an older anime, so it's one that I feel like most seasoned anime watchers know of or have seen. One of those that people either I feel like really love. It's not like universally hated or universally loved. It's like either people really love it, like me, I love it so much, or people are just like meh about it, and I'm personally obsessed. Again, romance really gets me, and also art style, and again, long white hair. So now I'm going to talk about Rings of Power. So I've talked about the Lord of the Rings a few times. I've read the books. I got to the second one, but I'm planning on rereading the series, or not even rereading the series, but like actually finishing the series. And I want to like really get more into the world. I've loved the movies. I like the books, like extend further outside of just like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've read The Hobbit. I want to read The Silmarillion, all that. I just like having something fantasy to watch. I feel like there's not really that much. Like there's Game of Thrones and stuff like that, but I'm also not a big fan of violence, like extreme violence. Felt like, you know, I could watch something that's fantasy and be like immersed in a completely different world, and it's not overly violent, like with just sexual violence, anything like that. I mean, there's war obviously in the Lord of the Rings, but it's still not like there's violence in like the movies, but it's not like over the top, and I can stomach it. I watched the first episode and then I didn't finish it, and then I decided to give it another go just because, again, like I like having fantasy stuff to watch, and I thought it was enjoyable. I finished the whole thing, and I probably will be watching the second season. I thought it was enjoyable. I kind of watched it with the idea in mind, like not to expect like too much, but like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, like, I don't know what to say, like I did enjoy it. So I don't like to say like I hyperfixate, because I feel like that's a term for people who, you know, have ADHD and stuff, and I don't know if I have ADHD or not. I've never been diagnosed, so I don't like using terms for like people with conditions when I don't have it. But I do tend to, I don't know what other word I would use, but I do tend to have things that I focus on like a lot, and then I just get over it very quickly. I had a period where I was very into like the 18th century. I know it sounds weird, like how can you be obsessed with like a time period, but like I was for a while, like a good couple of months to maybe even a year. But I was really into the 18th century, like fashion. I was watching movies set in the 18th century. Like I wanted to read books set in the 18th century. I was starting to run out of things to watch, like movies, TV shows, and I was looking for recommendations, and Outlander was one of those recommendations. It's a show set in the 18th century. It starts like, I'm gonna say mid 18th century to later mid 18th century, because I'm now right where they're in America, which I mean, it's fine. It's just like that kind of magic from the early season, or like the first season when they're in Scotland, it's just like not there. So for Outlander, I'm on season 5, episode 11. I think there's season 6, and then I think there's a season 7 coming, and I think season 7 is the final season. So Outlander, it follows the story of Claire Randall, a married combat nurse from 1945 who is mysteriously swept back in time to 1743, where she is immediately thrown into an unknown world where her life is threatened. So she gets transported back. Well, she's in Scotland on like her honeymoon, I think, with her husband in the 40s. She gets transported back to Scotland in the 1700s, like pretty much in the middle of like British colonization. She's in the Highlands in the 1940s. When she travels back in time, she's in the Highlands in the 1700s, and the Highlanders are like fighting back, like fighting the British. And so she's kind of in the middle of this conflict. And there's Jamie, who is the hero, and he's an awesome character. He's a pretty good character. I didn't get it at first. Before watching the show, I was like, you know, I mean, he's attractive, I guess, like the actor. But yeah, like watching the show, I'm like, I get it. I downloaded the audiobook, and I said in like another video that I haven't read the Outlander books. Technically, I've read the first one, but I haven't finished it, but it's so similar to like the first season that I feel like, I don't know, I started listening to the audiobook while watching the first season, and I was like, I honestly prefer to watch it than reading it or even listening to an audiobook, because they adapted it really well, and the books are really, really long, and like even the audiobook is like over 20 something hours, and I would just prefer to watch the show. I prefer to watch the show. What I really appreciate from Outlander is I like how it talks about the extent of like British imperialism in the Highlands. They had their own culture, and the British were like trying to stamp out that culture. I think it is important to talk about. I feel like people all I've really heard from the show is about the sex and stuff, but there's just more like interesting conversations. I do feel like the show tries to really skirt around the race stuff, like slavery and things like that. I mean, if you're gonna talk about it, you talk about it. Either don't talk about it or talk about it. There's a very, very horrible like rape in the first season, I believe. I think it's first or second, I can't remember, but in the beginning, like that was terrible, and I didn't watch it. I fast forwarded through it. I just didn't think I could do it, and I didn't want to watch it. But after that, there's graphic stuff, there's war, there's, Claire's a doctor, well, she's a nurse and a doctor, and there's some like medical stuff that's pretty gross. But as in terms of like that rape was really bad, and I didn't watch it. But after that, I was able to watch it. And then next is Love is Blind. I've been watching that. The new episode hasn't come out yet. The first season was really sweet. Like Cam and Lauren, they were... I don't have to explain Love is Blind. Okay, Love is Blind is a reality TV show on Netflix where random people, they're participating in this experiment where they go into like these pods where they can't see the other person on the other side of the wall, but they talk for like hours, it seems like, and they're in these, but they're there like on location. They're there for what seems like weeks maybe, and they have no access to friends, family, and they're just getting to know these people, and these people fall in love in like 3 days. I don't know how they do it. Like some of them, like Cam and Lauren from the first season, believable. Also, they've now been together for like 4 years, But some of these other people, I don't believe it. I don't believe it when they say that they've fallen in love after 3 days. Half the people, I feel like, especially now, what's that sound? Is it this? Especially now that Love is Blind has become like pretty popular, I feel like they're getting like grifters now, and I feel like they're getting people who just want to be on the show. So I feel like there are people who just pick people because they want to be a continuous, like, they want to be featured on the show more. And God, shows like this is why first couple seasons tend to be good, and then once they get to like the 10th season, I can't watch it anymore because it's just so inauthentic. Like I feel like because a show like that, like first season, it's not guaranteed to make you famous. It's just like they're trying something out, and so I feel like the people that first go on shows like that are more authentic, and then like I said, later on they get more people who just want to be famous and want to increase their follower count, which, I mean, get that bag. Like as a person who's finding it hard to like find my career path, I get it, like make money, but also some of these people, they make themselves look like fools. Okay, but yeah, we're on season 4 now of Love is Blind, and the couple that seems that like will actually get married is what's her name, Tiffany and Brett, I think his name is. They're like the ones people are really hoping for, and I like them. They seem nice. It seems like they're all in. I don't know, Brett is kind of scaring me a little bit. He just seems like, I don't know if he's just keeping it all in. He seems like he loves Tiffany, but I don't know. So if they get to the altar and he says no, all my hope is gone. But yeah, everyone else, it seems like it's a mess, kind of. There's not really anybody that I particularly like outside of Tiffany and Brett. This season has been really catty. Like, the past seasons haven't really been that bad, but there's two, Micah and I don't even remember her name. Her name's Irina, I think. Yeah, so she actually just apologized. She apologized for her behavior on the show. She's been horrible. And then Micah has been pretty bad, but she's with this guy named Paul, who they seem okay for each other and they seem like they like each other, so we'll see. I'm not sure about them though. I kind of doubt that they're gonna get married, but we'll see. There's Jackie and Marshall, they're not getting married. They're not getting married. So from season 4, we have Tiffany and Brett, who seem like they're good. Micah and Paul, who it's iffy. Micah, I don't know, Paul seems like he said that he dates like granola girls, and Micah's not that. So I don't know about them. He's very I think he's an environmental scientist or something, and I don't know what she does, but she just doesn't, she seems a little vapid. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm judging her from the TV show, but I don't know her obviously, but she seems a little vapid. I don't even know what they have to talk about, honestly. We have Chelsea and Kwame, which I like Chelsea, I do. But I feel like she really just wants to get married. She's talked about how she really wants babies. I think she just wants somebody, and I think she really wants it to work out. But Kwame is not the person you want to marry, girl. I know that this show has already happened, and whatever happens, happens. But Kwame is... Kenny JD, she talks about Love is Blind much better than what I'm doing. I'm just talking about the show that I'm currently watching. But, like... it's like a whole thing. I don't even know. Kwame, like, if you watched the last Love is Blind season, you'll know from SK, but Kwame also, from his introduction, he's like, I've thought about using a different name, and like a name like Alex, how he has been judged for being black, which basically means he's dating mostly non-black people, which it's like, you do you, whatever. But it's the fact that seems to be like such a problem. Like, maybe try switching it up a little bit, you know, like, why not try dating somebody who understands your culture and won't judge you for your skin color. But I don't know. But he's with Chelsea. Chelsea seems like a cool chick, but he just seems so inauthentic. He just seems so inauthentic. Then we have Marshall and Jackie, which I said they're not getting married. Zach and Irina, they're not together anymore. Irina is horrible. Zach is not that bad. A lot of people have talked about, like, on the show, a lot of the female cast members have said that he's like creepy. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, they typically have reunions, so we'll see what happens. He did, like, in the pods, he would say things like, I'm a stripper. So I don't know if that just read weird to some people. I don't know. Personally, I'm not seeing anything that he's done super weird, but I'm just watching the show. I'm a viewer. I'm not interacting with him, so I don't know. I don't know. But he was with Irina, and then he moved on to Bliss, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about, I'm like neutral on Zach and his relationship currently. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that's it. That's it for TV shows that I've been watching. But anyway, so last I'm just gonna talk about the movie that I just watched because I just watched A Clockwork Reader's video. She talked about, I think she said that Howl's Moving Castle is her favorite movie, and I was like, let me just watch this movie, like, let me just get it over with and watch this movie. But I really liked it. I really liked it. From the first couple of minutes I was like, I get why people like this movie. It's very whimsical. Howl's Moving Castle, it is a Studio Ghibli movie. Like, Studio Ghibli is known for their, like, wonderful animations, and they have, like, a whole following, and because they just have, like, really a lot of the movies that come out from that studio, it's just so, I don't know, it's very, like, relaxing and like, just pleasant. So yeah, I watched Howl's Moving Castle, the dubbed version. I had no idea Lauren Bacall was in it. I love old movies. I love, like, old Hollywood movies, and I had no idea that Lauren Bacall was in it. Like, I saw her on the cast list and I was like, interesting. And Billy Crystal was Calcifer, and he was great as Calcifer. But yeah, I really liked the movie, and I can see myself definitely watching it with it in the background. This was sort of long, but I'm gonna cut it down. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I finish all the things that I just talked about, so next time I do a video like this I'll have new things to talk about. I'll have new things to talk about. Half the time I'm just like rewatching things. Don't be surprised if I come on here talking about things that have been out for a really long time, and I'm just always behind on everything. I'm always catching up on books, TV shows, music. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's so many like ideas that I have. I pre-ordered Emily Henry's Happy Place, and I will be reading that, and I will be doing a video on that. What else? I don't know. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, goodbye.
Late in the night, I'm getting by, to be honest.